Okay, first, a couple things to get out of the way. I need to establish, in case someone in the mod's demographic actually sees this, that yes, I am aware that the dev and most of the people on this mod's team are women. No, that doesn't actually make it less deserving of criticism, and no, it does not make the criticism of this mod misogynist. Like, I'm not going to look at a story where women are just consistently treated as, like, objects to be won and are given no agency and are constant victims of sexual harassment, and where your partner coerces you into sex, and where the mod is also kind of racist. And I'm not going to go, wow, and it was written by a woman? Girl boss. The other thing is, I am aware that the characters of Bishop and Casimir were plagiarized, or as the mod puts it, inspired by the game Neverwinter Nights 2. I mean, this will be relevant to a couple things I have to say, but for the most part, I will be treating this mod as its own thing, rather than giving it any leeway for how derivative it is. Because this mod is a Skyrim mod. The mod attempts to integrate the stolen characters into the Elder Scrolls universe. This mod changes their backstories and your interactions with them. So, like, yeah, Bishop's rampant misogyny was a feature from his characterization in Neverwinter Nights 2, but in this mod it's never really questioned, and you're supposed to be in love with him, so I don't think that excuses it. I think it's fair to look at it for what it is. Also, I kind of don't care about Neverwinter Nights 2. Sorry. So, like, this mod does not even slightly feel like an Elder Scrolls mod. It doesn't feel like it takes place in this world, and, I mean, there's a lot of factors going into that, like the, just how out of place all the characters are, and, like, the settings are, like the fucking lore-friendly Palace of Kings open mic night, just kind of off to the side of Ulfric Stormcloak's throne, and, like, the Barbie-looking fucking royal ball, whatever the fuck. But yeah, that's not the main reason everything is so out of place. It is almost entirely because of how misogynist the worldview of this mod is. Skyrim romance mod sticks out like a sore thumb in vanilla Skyrim for somehow managing to be more dismissive and hateful towards women than the game series, whose developers are by and large straight white nerd men. Like in the Elder Scrolls series, give or take, it is generally implied that women have not universal equal treatment to men. And where exceptions are made, it's usually because of writer bias more than anything. Like, for example, guards and soldiers being pretty much exclusively men in Morrowind and Oblivion, and mostly men in Skyrim, is not lore, it's just the devs thinking it makes sense. And, like, when it's intentional, you can usually tell. For example, in Skyrim, the bard Mikhail, whatever, considers himself a Casanova, and, like, hits on any and all woman around him, something they despise and see as obnoxious and unusual. And there's a miscellaneous quest to make him stop. You can beat him up. You'll notice I'm using console games as my examples, as the only pre-Morrowind game I've played is Battlespire, and it is, impossible to make heads or tails of, like, absolutely fucking anything about it. Like, is the spider danger who hits on you and you can have sex with homophobic writing? Fuck if I know. ESO is also off this list, and ESO itself is kind of this bizarre little microcosm of the Elder Scrolls series' relation to misogyny, because the devs seem aware that a society with gender equality will have a roughly equal division of gender in positions of power. But the game also has this, like, repeated tendency to have characters whose characterization is exactly the same as Mikhail from Skyrim. You know, flirty, hits on every woman around him, kind of sexually creepy, if not a bit of a sex pest, you know, all that. But you're supposed to find it endearing instead of out of place and obnoxious. And you're supposed to really like these characters and feel bad when horrible things happen to them. Anyway, I think a particularly good example of how out of place this mod is like contrasting it with the forged letters in the Sven and Faendal debacle. Faendal attempts to disparage Sven by having Sven's letters say he expects Camilla to do housework and cooking and cleaning. This is how Faendal attempts to make Sven look bad, implying, you know, that the concepts are seen as absurd in-universe. His letter says, I wish to have you as my own, washing my linens and my fine blonde hair, to cook my dinner from my stove, and to tend to my house while I wander. And, you know, whatever. What makes this really interesting is that this is, like, pretty much indistinguishable from the fully genuine and earnest characterization of all the characters in Skyrim Romance mod. Like, if you told me that was, like, from one of the love rivals in the Skyrim Romance mod and I hadn't done the Sven and Faendal quest, I would think that was true. I'd believe you. Okay, so, I think at this point I'm going to talk about the characters, but I am going to leave Bishop for last because there's literally so much you can say about him. And I'm also going to leave Casimir second to last because not as much, but there is so much going on with him. I've learned a lot more about him after reading the lead developer's little fan fiction about him, the Casimir Chronicles, in which he is, like, kind of rapey. So yeah, I'm leaving them out. That'll be in the second video. So I will just go over the characters now. This mod is kind of supposed to open with your character being sexually harassed by two dudes just kind of standing around in Riverwood, hanging around.
Boy, look at this fine lass. Oh, she's a beauty who looks a bit parched. I think I may offer to buy her a pint of brew.
Not if I get to her before you do. You always go after the pretty women and leave the beast for the rest of us.
I can't help it if women find me fascinating. Besides, you have plenty of women to choose from. A fair maiden like her would be a waste for a man like you.
Hey, she must be a witch then. Look at those eyes. They put some spell on me.
With Bishop questioning why you ignored them as you're, like, meet cute. Like, and they kind of establish what this mod is about. So, first thing, you go somewhere. Your radiant beauty and pungent feminine musk instantly makes every modded man want you bad. He hits on you. He notices Bishop with you. He says something along the lines of, "What are you doing with that disgusting, wild ranger?" Because in this mod, for some reason, rangers are a discriminated against group. They never... I don't know. Anyway, that happens. You have a brief interaction where you can make no real choices aside from some dialogue. Bishop gets angry. Bishop and the man get into an argument right in front of you, mostly about what you want in a man, which you cannot contribute to. Bishop will at some point compare himself to a wolf, which I think you're supposed to find, like, kind of hot and cool and not, like, really fucking cringy. Then Bishop wins the dick contest. You talk to him and either go, "Ha ha, you're jealous," or "Why were you mean?" And Bishop wisely informs you that any man who is nice to you has ulterior motives and wants to sleep with you, and isn't as good for you as him, who is very upfront about being an awful person and wanting to sleep with you. Alright, so... Alec, Prince of Song.
Alec, Prince of Song.
Yeah, he's pretty, whatever. He's just kind of, like, a little hilarious. Like, he monologues the Song of the Dragonborn, like, I tell you, the Dragonborn comes. And the dialogue afterwards has you say, "Wow, you're a good singer." And I'm not sure why that happens. Like, is it a joke? Did they use the wrong audio?
Our hero, claims a warrior's heart. I tell you, the Dragonborn comes. And all. You are most kind.
Anyway, he takes you to the lore-friendly Windhelm Palace of Kings open mic night, and he sings about how only you can save him. And Bishop and him get into a little squabble that I barely remember and didn't include in the showcase because he was like, yeah.
My beautiful muse. I wish to hear all of your wonderful stories from the road. We can spend an unforgettable night together. Leaving so soon? We're just having some fun. We wouldn't want the savage to get jealous now, would we, my lady?
And next. So there's this really, really fucking fascinating encounter in Whiterun where this, like, cartoonish, lustful tavern wench immediately homes in on Bishop's delicious wet dog and swamp-ass smell and is like, I must have you. And I guess she's supposed to be, like, your love rival and stuff. And Bishop repeatedly turns her down, which, you know, that's fine. You should turn someone down if you don't like him. And eventually threatens to slit her throat for it. And she just doesn't stop. She's just like, why is she better than me? Like, she just, like, walks up to him out of nowhere and suddenly is very emotionally invested in this, like, greasy little motherfucker. And yeah, but Bishop's like, I will slit your throat.
Slit your throat.
And you're supposed to be like, yay, my sexy man has eyes only for me and not for the lustful tavern wenches. Which, like, and, you know, needless to say, you can't talk to her. She has no dialogue for you. Yeah, but she can't talk to you. There's, like, nothing to it. I think when I was, like, in the process of getting a hold of this mod, there was, like, a banner image somewhere advertising the mod with, like, all the love rivals, which all the dudes that you can't romance. And there was a woman on that thing, and I was thinking, I think it might have been her, and I was thinking, like, whoa, is there a female love interest in this mod? Ooh, how's that gonna be handled? How's the gay romance gonna be handled? I'm excited for that. No. Nothing but straight people exists in the world of this mod. Next up is Captain Jack, who I don't know if he's a reference to Pirates of the Caribbean or if he's, like, stolen. I've never actually seen those movies, and I don't plan on it. And I don't really want to give this section much overview because this, I don't know how much of it was, like, a bug and how much was the intended, like, gameplay, but it took, like, over a half hour to do this quest. Which, mind you, was entirely comprised of walking down a dock. Like, literally, just you walk from point A to point B. It's not a very long walk. And I don't know what the point of him was. It was, like, comic relief, maybe? He wasn't funny. He wasn't funny at all. He's just drunk. And the one thing that's worth noting about him is he is the only love rival that Bishop doesn't seem to mind much. Like, he like, gets into some banter with him, but it's not really aggressive. He's kind of almost joking along, if anything.
You got no idea, Jack. She can do it one- and two-handed.
Next is Darren, who is an absolute fucking treat. Darren is a gay-coded little queen, but not to worry, straight woman players. He is definitely attracted to you. He definitely wants to fuck you. So the thing this mod does to you is all the characters are literally so bad that you will just look for something, like anything to like. And Darren is it for me. Like, yeah, he does go like, the lovely rose must be mine. With the love of lovely rose being, oh, that's the other thing. All of the suitors have like a stupid little name they call you. Like, Casimir is Milady. Alec, Prince of Song, is my muse. Actually, I don't think Jack has one. He's just fucking useless. Darren is
Lovely Rose.
And Kale, he's next up. Used to be Sparrow, but they made him like a normal person in this version of the mod, so yeah. Anyway, back to my favorite character, Darren. Yeah, he ultimately does play into the like men fighting about who gets to possess you, but like, God, he squeals and shrieks like a gay-coded Barbie villain. Like, I don't think he's hitting on you. I think he just wants to hang out and brag about being a mage and get a back rub off it. Just faces off against Bishop because Bishop fucking sucks and he doesn't want his new little tavern friend to go off with this horrible man. Oh yeah, side note, I'm not sure if my game was glitching, but the fight between them involved Bishop taking out his dagger and just stabbing Darren, and they just act like Bishop punched him on the nose. Darren's like, I have to go ice my nose.
Excuse me, I think I need to go ice my nose.
And you can go like, why did you punch him on the nose? And Bishop has this fantastic response that is not like a warning sign at all. Like, no red flags here.
If you don't want me damaging your admirers, don't bring them around me.
Final love rival is Kale. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. Who used to be the Sparrow guy. You know, like if you've seen that that main 10-minute Skyrim romance mod video from several years back. He was the guy who says, lovely Sparrow, a lot. But now he's like the most normal person in this entire mod. Like, his encounter is kind of brief and really boring. You just go up to him and he's like, why are you approaching me? Do you want to die? That's sad. And you go like, no, I'm fine, I'm just hanging out and support the Forsworn. And he's like, wow, that's rare to see someone so accepting in Skyrim. Cool. And he flirts with you a little bit, and it's corny, like he's like...
Or perhaps this is a clever trap, capitalizing on my weakness for attractive women to put me in a false sense of security.
But it's not too obnoxious, he kind of just says one thing, and he seems pretty genuinely nice to you. And then Bishop steps in and gets mean, and Bishop hates the Forsworn, which you can tell by some of his dialogue that he says randomly while in the Reach, which is also just real-life anti-Indigenous racism on the part of the writers, and I'm not going to repeat it here, but that is present. So yeah, Bishop lays into him, and oh my god, there's a man and a woman with Kale who are like just they're in his little crew, and the woman, she like vaguely kind of threatens you, and Bishop, he calls the woman Kale's whore. Like, here's the line.
Oh, please try it. I'd love nothing better right now than to get rid of his whore.
I kept it out of the showcase because it's genuinely horrible, but this is the guy you're supposed to like. This is it, people. And Kale responds by, once again, being the best character in the mod, which is...
As for you, Ranger, keep your eyes off my sister, or I will hunt you down and remove them from your skull.
Pretty great, but that's it. The encounter's over. And after you've been through all that, and Cassivir, who I will go into the next video, that wraps up, like, the actual content of the mod, and after that is just you getting married to your horrible, disgusting little man. Yep.